Hello everyone, welcome to a Phase Dota Circuit Season 8 game between Chappy Daycare and our Pause1 is Legend. I've just started casting this tournament, so I'm not too familiar with all the teams and what the skills are, what heroes are getting picked, so we're just going to be learning as we go along.
5 seconds.
And normally I have a co-caster, but I was unable to find one for this cast. So we're just going to be soloing it, kind of like what I did when I first started out here. Opening ban is going to be a Wraith King. Actually, let me check the chat real quick. Oh god.
It is Radiant's ban.
Please don't tell me you guys can still hear me.
10 seconds remain. Dire's turn to ban. 10 seconds. Radiant's turn to ban. 10 seconds remain. 5 seconds remain.
Absolutely. I've turned off open mic. Can you guys hear me now?
It is Radiant's ban.
Testing, testing.
Seconds.
Alright, I think that fixed the issue. Someone let me know in the chat if they can hear me in-game. This is kind of a weird bug. I experienced this before, where the teams in-game can hear me. I think it might have something to do with enabling the open mic setting in-game, but regardless, that bug seems to have fixed itself. We'll keep the chat open just in case it reappears. Going off the first bans from Chappy Daycare, it is going to be Magnus, Axe ban starting out, targeting likely what that position 3 is going to be. We see Windrunner as well and Nyax. I'm familiar with our Pause1 is Legends, and Nyax, Axe, and Magnus are all heroes quite often picked by this team. Windrunner, I believe that's targeted towards Emu, which is the mid laner for our Pause1 is Legend. So not really meta picks, but more so just targeting the players themselves with these. On the opposite side, we have Wraith King getting banned, Monkey, AM, so a lot of position 1s. Along with Ember Spirit, although I think that's a second phase ban. So interesting to see a lot of position 1 get banned first thing. And Wraith King is a common meta pick right now, so not too surprising to see that banned. But AM first ban, I assume, was to protect the Medusa, which was picked by our Pause1 is Legend. This can be flexed between a support or a 1 or a 3. It's usually played in the 3 position in tournament games, just because it's so strong right now. Because you can go like Meteor Hammer, Light Meteor, just really max out that mana and mana regen and just become an unkillable hero that just pushes towers. With the AM band, it just makes it so it's a lot easier to slot that Medusa into the 3 slot and not get it countered by anything. Chappy Daycare picks up the Lion. I wasn't paying attention due to the bug to see which one was picked first, but Lion does have that mana drain to do a decent amount of mana damage to the Medusa. Once she starts getting her first couple of items, though, it's not going to be that much. And the Lion by himself does not do that much damage to the Medusa. You kind of need like raw, sustained damage, something like a Troll Warlord or a PA, to really like get through her mana shields. But in lane, Lion can be pretty decent against that. We see Tiny and Chaos Knight getting picked afterwards. Tiny, strong hero overall, pretty meta hero. Can be flexed between lanes. You can play a 1, 2, 3, even a support. I'm not sure what it's going to be on in this game because I'm unfamiliar with what heroes Chappy Daycare plays. But it's, you know, just an overall solid pick. Both of those heroes on Chappy Daycare are offering a lot of CC and burst damage for the non-Medusa heroes. Our plus 1 is Legend going Chaos Knight, Ancient Apparition.
5 seconds.
AA is interesting to pick up because they're not.
Radiant must choose.
When you have the Dusa, you're not too concerned about an AA because AA's ultimate does not affect Medusa at all because all of her HP comes in the form of mana, which isn't affected by that, by the Ice Blast. And so you could have left it in the pool of the AA and not have been too worried about seeing it, but maybe they're looking at like picking up regen heroes further down the line.
5 seconds.
Chaos Knight is unusual. I imagine this is like a 1 CK. I feel like it'd be pretty hard to slot this in as a support. CK, his illusions kind of get killed by the Tiny here. Lion Hex does not, it kills with the Manta illusions, but not the ultimate form illusions. But Tiny splash damage, if this is a core Tiny, is going to do a lot to the CK. Tidehunter gets picked in response to seeing the CK.
5 seconds.
I'm pretty sure Tidehunter wins that trade in lane, able to do that big AoE splash damage and damage reduction with the Anchor Smash. Is, just makes most melee carries cry, and Chaos Knight is no exception. They're going to follow that up with a Ringmaster. So on Chappy Daycare, I'm looking at a lot of magic damage between the Lion and Ringmaster. And Lion has pretty good setup for landing those Ringmaster abilities, like the daggers, the Wheel of Wonders. And so good team fight, good CC, good initiation so far on those two supports. And they're pretty good in lane as well. It's probably going to be a 4 Ringmaster pairing with the Tide, and Chaos Knight doesn't really have it a spell until he gets his 6 to be able to deal with those daggers. So if this is a 5 AA, I don't think he's going to be able to do much to help the CK out in lane against that duo pairing.
It is Dire's ban.
Our Cosmos Legends going to go with the Queen of Pain. There is quite a bit of CC for her. Tide could get the Dead in the Water facet, or shard rather, to try and lock her down. And yeah, it's a little bit hard for Cloud because if she doesn't have a good game, and if this Tiny has a good game, Tiny can just like go to wherever she shows in lanes if the Clop is split pushing and just burst her from full to 0. So it offers damage. It's a good lane presence. That could be a support Clop now that I'm thinking about it. It could be flexed up. I don't imagine they'd want to pick the 4 last pick unless this is like a 4 CK. So far I'm liking Chappy Daycare's draft. Our Cosmos Legend, they do have the Dusa, and Chappy Daycare doesn't really have any way to deal with that. So if Dusa has a good lane, a good game, it's just going to be very hard to kill her. But just based on the draft for Chappy Daycare, they have a good team comp to kill all the heroes around Medusa and then focus her down. Tinker gets banned on Chappy Daycare. They could be thinking either like a support or a mid. They might be thinking this Quap is a flex pick. So maybe banning heroes that satisfy both those roles is a good idea. Tinker's one of those. Puck getting banned by our Cosmos Legend. They're probably worried about compounding team fight advantage that Chappy Daycare is building for themselves. Because the team fight is definitely better on Chappy Daycare. They have a lot more AoE, CC, and AoE damage on that side, whereas our Plasma's Legend's more single target. Centaur gets banned. That's a little unusual ban. Maybe they're thinking that Medusa is going to be flexed.
5 seconds remain.
But if I'm Chappy Daycare, I'm looking at this draft because they're going to be picking. They're probably thinking that the Medusa and the CK are going to be the hardest to deal with. If this is like a mid-tiny, you probably want to look at like a carry. You probably want to look like a mid or a carry that can deal with both these heroes. Right now, you have a hard time dealing with the Medusa particularly, so something to deal with that. And generally, the way you deal with Medusa is something that can not die to her in lane, or something that wins early game, such as like a drow or a sniper, right?
10 seconds.
Because they have plenty of CC, I feel like they just need some kind of sustained damage. So I could definitely see a sniper here coming out from Chappy Daycare. But our Pause One is Legend is picking first for them. Well, they're picking now. They're going to go for Slardar. Interesting. So this is likely going to be a support Medusa. Mid-co-op. Well, it could be either of those in the mid lane, depending on what they pick last year for Chappy Daycare. Probably going to be picking their mid laner now.
5 seconds remain.
I think Sniper is still good here. It's a tiny bit rougher with the Slardar because that's a hero that can go in with the Quap and try and burst him down. Sniper, unlike Drow, has a little bit of easier time disengaging from targets that jump him with that grenade from the shard. It kind of just depends on what lane this is. If their another advantage that Sniper provides is that if... Yeah, I'll do that. They're recommending I put the Twitch and PDC. Normally I have a co-caster where I can let them talk for a second while I get things set up on my end. So let me... Apologies while I do that. But here, let's send the link over there. All right, link got it up there. All right, I believe we're all set up here. Looking at the skin game, I think I got to give it to our Pause One's Legend. They definitely win out the particle game. And I feel like there's just a bit more cohesiveness going on their side, with the reds especially. Chappy Daycare is going for more like a green aesthetic, green-blue. Ringmaster just kind of like throws off the whole thing. I know Ringmaster doesn't have any skin yet, but it's just kind of a little bit jarring compared to the theme that's going on our Pause One is Legend. Anyway, in terms of draft, they last picked Kunkka. That's going to give them a lot more sustain in fights, and it's going to mitigate a lot of the burst damage coming out from this Chaos Knight and Queen of Pain and Slardar. This is a pretty good Kunkka pick. It's a little bit more defensive than something like a Sniper. And it's going to provide a bit more lockdown as well to try and deal with this Queen of Pain and Slardar, who are pretty fast, nimble heroes. My command go in? No.
Prepare yourselves for the main event.
And we gotta enable one more setting. There we go. Alright, so looking at the drafts, we have Seal playing the Chaos Knight. Looks like it's going to be a support CK. Drabs on the AA, also support. Emu on the Quap. This is going to be a mid-Quap. Granola Medusa, so a carry Medusa. And Dimitri on the Slardar. They're going to be facing off against Tidehunter, who is core, likely the 3. Tiny, also core. I imagine this is the one. Yeah, and Kunkka core, they're going to probably throw the Kunkka mid. Ringmaster and Lion going to be supports. Gazelle's going to be playing the Tidehunter. Math Magician on the Tiny. Malu on the Lion. Epi on the Ringmaster. And Rice Boy on the Kunkka. Dire has smoked up and gone into their own jungle, waiting for anybody to show up. Radiant now moving across the river, potentially looking to do something. Lion's walking up, probably going to put a ward down. Nope, he's just going to face tank it. Opening up with Seal, Chaos Knight, stunning out that line. He's going to start running away, being able to get out of there. Actually, they're going to be able to burst the CK. Lion soon to follow, though, but first blood does go to the Kunkka. Slardar now gets a nice 2-man stun As seems like Tide is getting focused here now. Dimitri running at him with the Slaughter, right in the river. The Slaughter is really fast, really tanky. Bounty comes up. Math Magician is going to snag that from the Quap, but that might cost him his life here. He's going to go down. Double kill on the AA. Dimitri's going to lose his life because of this, but managed to finish the Kunkka off at the very end. A 2 for 4 at the end of it. That bounty room's the only one gotten thus far. Dire's going to be able to get one, and the other two are left in their bottom positions. So massive advantage there for Dire right out of the bat. Radiant just running high ground, no smoke, face tanking it. And had to fight in that choke point. Not a very good way to start that fight. We have AA and CK rotating up here before the first minute, and they're going to throw their spells out on this line, try to bring him down again. He has no TP. He's going to have to walk back to base after going down right here. That is really unfortunate. Yeah, so this Tide's going to be all alone, level 1 here. Still pretty durable hero, but he's probably going to have to back just a little bit, waiting for his line to come back in. In mid lane, Kunkka versus Queen of Pain. Let's put on Last Is Denies. I imagine this matchup is Kunkka favored just because of that massive Tidebringer damage. Quap doesn't have the best armor or regen. So once Kunkka starts getting a couple levels, I think this Quap is going to start having a very hard time. And in the bottom lane, we're looking at a Ringmaster Tiny. That's a lot of magic burst. It's pretty scary. You know, that duo can definitely get some kills. And opposing them is Chaos Knight Slardar, kind of an unusual pairing. Slardar getting a little low here. But a lot of stun, a lot of right-click damage, and a lot of armor between those two heroes. So both sides, I imagine, can get a lot done with that pairing. I think the most interesting lane is probably going to be the mid lane, but ooh yeah, Kunkka getting Queen of Pain pretty low. Going for the Torrent here, lands the Torrent, that's going to be a dead Queen of Pain. Meanwhile, bottom lane, both these melee Dire heroes here are getting Ringmaster Daggered? What is the ability called? Impalement. They're getting impaled by the Ringmaster. But the creep wave ends up on the tower, so they have a little bit of space to get some creeps there. Meanwhile, top lane, I imagine, like Dusa can get pretty scary with a couple of levels if Mystic Stink is able to bounce a couple of times. That can do a lot of damage. AA rotating mid now, try and bully this Kunkka. Yeah, preventing him from getting the bottom. Cop's gonna blink in, get him with the Scream of Pain. And even a rotation by the CK. Both supports rotating at minute 3 to try and bring down that Kunkka. Very nice rotations there to try and salvage that lane a little bit. CK now returning to the bottom lane. The Slardar was unable to really farm with his absence. Picking up, he did get that Lotus though. Meanwhile, top lane, we have a bit of a go between these two sides here. Tide getting especially low, taking a lot of damage from that Mystic Snake, forced to go back. Ringmaster now getting very low, kind of walking out of the safety of his tower, right into the arms of these two Dire heroes. And almost cost him his life there, or their life. A little quieter without the supports here to protect Co-op. She's once again losing HP to this Kunkka as we have a little bit of a lag spike there. We're still in the game though. Ringmaster getting very low bottom. Looks like he got a little bit out of position there. Gets the nice right click on the Hill Trolls there to finish him off. So denying that kill to the Chaos Knight. Very nicely done there. And I think the bottom lane actually is going to be the one to watch. Just a lot of damage and control coming out from both sides. Just a little bit of mispositioning can easily cost a life. Kunkka's going to do a little bit of combo here on the Queen of Pain, do a lot of burst damage to her actually. She does have Blink, maybe baiting him a little bit under tower, but does not evolve into anything. It's going to be interesting to see how this Chaos Knight transitions into the mid game, because he does have that stun and that reality rift, but without items, the Chaos Knight is pretty squishy. I believe the Axe gives illusions for allied heroes, so there's a little bit of a combo between that and the Medusa, but it's not going to be especially interesting or impactful. Sorry, I feel, compared to what could have been like a Weaver or a Muerta, something that does a little bit more in a fight besides just that stun. Looking at CS, it seems like the Kunkka is thoroughly winning the mid lane over double the last hits of Queen of Pain and 16 denies to Pops 3. He's got a full level advantage over her at this point, and she cannot lane right now because if he lands that X on her, he has that Boat Torrent combo, and that's going to be doing a lot of damage. And actually, we might see it here. He's going to land the X, drop the boat. Oh, the blink gets the time in there, so the boat whiffs. Kunkka's now going to run away with the run buff, so these two supports, even though they rotate, they're probably not going to be able to get him just from that speed and tankiness that run provided. Yeah, as I expected, once the Lion started getting a couple of levels, it's going to get a little bit more annoying for this Medusa to do things. Just concentrating on the mana. We're going to have an A rotation up here with DD, actually. They're going to be able to drop a couple of spells on this Lion to bring him down. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we have a Tiny avalanching up a Slardar, trying to bring him down. He's very low HP. Slardar's going to be a little bit careful. In 5 seconds, Tiny's going to have that avalanche. That's going to be enough to bring him down. But we'll keep an eye on this for now. Looks like there's going to be a fight, actually, over the Wisdom Shrine. We'll go back bottom in a second. Yeah, looks like that Tiny did avalanche Slardar, but he, just got him. But the fight is here, as looks like Dire tried to invade to steal this, but the Tidehunter and Lion are here to try and protect us. AA getting very low. He's going to go down, and now it's just the Chaos Knight. Medusa actually coming over to try and assist with this. And we have a rotation here by the Ringmaster, whiffed on the Lion stun. Seems like Dire are going to try to run out of there. Chaos Knight getting very low from that. Hillman Arts, one last Anchor Smash is going to bring him down. So a nice rotation by Radiant there to secure that Wisdom Rune. Slardar did not respect the avalanche damage from Tiny and did lose his life during that engagement. So this Tiny is definitely having a good lane. 51 CS at before 8 minutes on the Kunkka. That's a lot of creep kills right there. Line getting pretty low. There's going to be a CK rotation up here after he respawned, but the Lion has gotten out of dodge at this point. CK's going to keep going though. Might find this Lion here. Is going to find them. Pretty low. Lion's able to get that stun off though, and buy him a little bit of time. As Lion starts to run away, A now rotates. They're going to start focusing this Tidehunter now, as Ringmaster is going to come over. I don't know if they can turn this necessarily. Both daggers kind of body blocking each other, as now the Chaos Knight is left alone. Yeah, they're going to drop some spells, the Impalement Arts and the Earth Spike to lower him. Quap rotates. He's going to find the Lion. Nice Sonic Wave on the Tide, but the Chaos Knight goes down first to the Tide. Now the Tide falls to the Queen of Pain, but Kunkka's here now, throwing out those spells. Quap's going to be able to blink away. A snake comes out to kill the Ringmaster. But the Kunkka, big bad Kunkka, with his double bracer phase, he's doing a ton of damage, heals the AA. And so just a huge, scrappy skirmish. Radiant lose 3 heroes to Dire's 2 through that. So that's a little golden XP pickup there for Dire. All the while, Tiny and Slardar are still laning against each other, contesting each other for CS. Tiny is winning that lane. He has 14 denies compared to 4, and about 14 more last hits over Slardar. Let's go over to net worth now and take a look at the big winners. You can see, yeah, Kunkka is pretty far ahead. This is to be expected though. When the Kunkka wins his lane, he's able to just farm with impunity, go into jungle, and do this to creeps, so he's really able to accelerate his farm as there's a rotation bottom from the Lion and Ringmaster to be able to find that Tiny, just tons of magic damage coming out. You can see between the Impale and the Tame the Beasts, Just a ton of magic damage. This armor doesn't mean anything versus these this trio of heroes on the side of Radiant. Kaka's gonna find a quap, put an X down. Can he land the combo? Nice illusion dodge on the torrent. That was very well done by Emu. It's not gonna matter for he still goes down, but very well done there to kind of prolong the inevitable. As we now have a Slaughter rotation off the respawn. He's gonna come in on this Kunkka. Kunkka's gonna drop the boat on himself. This is gonna do a ton of damage. Lion Finger kills the CK. Slaughter now gets taunted up by the Wheel of Wonder. It is a disaster fight for Dire as Lion picks up the double. Radiant get 4 kills off of that. And Slaughter now, after dying, came over here to to help out and immediately died again. So that's probably like 2 minutes where he's not doing anything. And Kunkka meanwhile just X's himself, TP's back to base to get those full resources. So other than the big bad scary Kunkka who did go Blade now, the next highest hero in terms of net worth is the Medusa, who for the most part has been allowed to free farm up here. Tide is still in lane, still being a bully. Only 1 point in that Kraken shell, but I imagine that the Mystic Snake is still going to be able to bully him out of there pretty reliably. And she is just slowly passively farming, got that Maelstrom, is going to start working towards Field Mjolnir actually. Meanwhile, bottom lane we have, looks like a bit of a go on the Tiny. Looks like they ran at him, dropped the Corrosive Haze, but now Chaos Knight level 4 at 11 minutes. You hate to see that on a support. Is just left alone there in the front. But he's going to be able to run away with that. Very good move speed. Looks like Tide was considering going bottom for rotation, but decided against it. AA now left alone in the mid lane to pick up 6. Quap is going to the jungle to farm up creeps. So he has got to be careful of this X. This is a max level X, so a ton of range on that. Bottom lane, the Lion's going to be found by the Slaughter and Chaos Knight. And going to go down. Wheel of Wonder finds nothing. Slaughter, pretty tanky hero along with the CK, but if the Tiny is able to get on top of the CK, for example, he's going to be able to drop that Avalanche and basically just burst him. Yeah, ooh, nice stun out. Right, the CK gets the Tiny, and now follow-up stun by Slaughter. Oh, Tiny's going to toss the Slaughter away from him, keep himself alive, but Slaughter's going to keep pressing. Running at this Tiny, just the Ringmaster here to help him out. No, Dimitri's going to be able to find the Tiny there and bring him down. So pretty close game so far. 2 heroes are kind of pulling away that pack with the Kunkka and Medusa. This Medusa is going to have a lot of impact, I feel. It just kind of feels like her teammates are slipping a little bit compared to their Dire counterparts. So the longer she's able to just sit up in that top lane, the better for the Dire team. AA is kind of baiting this Ringmaster out of position, but a nice toss by Slaughter prevents the Slaughter from getting onto the Ringmaster. That's going to be an instant 2 deaths on the side of Dire with that Tiny TPing in. That is, that's not good. A lot of damage coming up between the Ringmaster and the Tiny there. Kunkka got pretty low. Looks like Queen of Pain tried to combo him Sonic Wave. He was barely able to get out with the Rum. He's now going to X home. And I apologize, it's a little bit more difficult to keep track of the action. I basically just have to stare at the minimap the whole time while controlling the camera. But we're making it do. Tiny has finished up Echo Saber, looking to clean up the Shard mid lane. They're going to be going on the Queen of Pain, but she's going to be able to barely blink out of there. As Kunkka's going to continue the chase, manages to get the X. No Torrent for the time being. Stunned from the CK. He's going to keep him alive. He's going to get stunned by the Cold Feet. Nice Alliance and keeps him alive for a little bit longer. Quap's going to be careful here because the Tidebringer could bring her down, but no. Quap's going to be able to blink forward and finish off the kill on the Kunkka. That is a huge kill right there. They're going to continue chasing onto the Lion. This Queen of Pain is blinking and doing tons of damage. The 0-4-4 build. And she is very mobile and does a lot of burst damage. And that's a nice pick-me-up for that Queen of Pain. It's going to definitely help her out in getting up this network chart. Tiny's going to be rotating over to the triangle. Looks like to finish on some stacks. Try and get a shard. Looking at other items, we have Slardar working towards Echo Saber before Blink.
Dire's middle tower is
CK is just going for drums, and AA, possibly Atos Yules, seems like.
there is little hope for Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult for this Tiny to take these camps because he does not have that shard. So he's going to have to just like use spells while he waits for his tree grab to come back off cooldown. Tide went with the Ring of Tarask, I imagine, for the passive heal in lane. Actually, bottom, yeah. And that was just Tiny from the camp. So he's doubling down on the regen by, looks like he's going for a, that's a Vladimir's offering, right? Looks like a Vladimir's. So going to be able to sustain even more. Lions up here now, they're going to drop some combos on the Medusa to try and bring it down. CK though is going to come in, nice Ravage though, canceling the initiation by the CK. They're going to be able to burst this Medusa down. Heroes rotating in on the side of Dire. They find the line. Radiant just start running out of there. Kunkka is walking up here, but it's maybe a little bit too slow as they're going to find this Ringmaster, burst him down. So it's going to be 2 support for the Medusa now, but now Kunkka, Arcane, is here looking at 4 Dire heroes. He's going to drop a torrent on the ground. Yep, doing his combo onto CK. May not be the hero you want to focus though. Sarda now comes in, nice 2-man stun, but the Sonic Wave just burst down Tiny there. Kunkka just trying to stay alive in this fight. He's getting lower. He's getting way lower, and yep, he's going to go down. Dire looks like they're mopping up. This Tide's been focusing the CK. They finally get the CK. That's the hero they prioritized, but cost them a lot of heroes to get that. Lion now finds a nice 2-man stun there, getting the Slardar. This would be a big fake as they get it. They do. Lion able to blink away, or blink forward into the AA, and nice point-blank Ice Blast there brings down the Tidehunter, who was there since the start of the fight. Ooh, and Pelmars blocks the dagger onto Drav, so he's able to stay alive for a second, hiding in the trees. He's probably going to stay alive, actually, as the Lion goes down, and now Queen of Pain is going to start chasing down this Ringmaster, but she's low resources. Has that Dagon pickup, so doing a lot of damage, a lot of sustain from the spell Lifesteal. Another brawly fight. 4 for 2, favoring the Dire. And if you look at the net worth graph, you can kind of see the Radiant kind of peaked at 5k net worth advantage. Now it's down to just 1k. Medusa has finished up that Mjolnir, working towards Aghanim Scepter. Try and get tons of Mjolnir procs, I imagine. Kind of interesting build, actually. I'm not sure if this is standard. I have not seen many Pause 1 Medusas recently. In terms of the other cores, who was it? Kunkka, working towards Radiance. That's pretty standard. If you're going to be live in fights for a long time, getting that Radiance burn is very helpful to doing a lot of damage. And the Slardar, yeah, looks like they're focusing Blink. And Tidehunter did get that Vladimir's, now looking to pick up Pipe, so definitely more of a aura support Tide. Just staying alive in fights, providing those defensive buffs for the team, trying to give them a bit of sustainability, the kind of sustainability they need to deal with Medusa. Dara's going to be congregating down here. The AA is still top, but they're going to be able to just right-click this tower down, not a lot of HP left on it. And Tormentor is available if they want to do it. Looks like a line is drawn by the Kunkka, probably telling the AA to come down to do the Tormentor. And they will set up and do it. Radiant, meanwhile, are smoked, probably trying to find something. Looks like, yeah, the skin's going to come out, so they're aware that Dire is doing this, but it's a little bit too late. Tormentor's taken, going to the Slardar. That's a pretty nice shard pickup. Going on a core this early on is pretty huge. Let's them blink without angle duel. Oh, they go through the portal and a nice Ravage by the Tidehunter. Finds 3. AA getting super low, almost going down. Avalanche is going to finish him off as now the Wheel of Wonder comes in, zoning these heroes away. It is a disaster for Dire as they went through that portal without scanning or anything, just right into the Ravage. Holy moly, double kill on the Mathematician. That was a ton of damage. 2,000 damage from the Tiny, or the Tidehunter, 1,600 from the Tiny. 3 for nothing off of that Tormentor. And whatever gold advantage they got from the Tormentor just erased after that.
Dire structures are fortified.
Queen of Pain does have the Invis rune for another couple of seconds, looking to maybe find something here with her team respawning.
Top is under attack.
No detection for her at the moment. A is going to come out of base. This Lion's positioning to try and stun up one of these heroes. They're going to take the tower. Looks like there's no contest. Looking at the mid game, notice this in draft, but Radiant definitely have the better fight with all this CC stun coming from like Tiny and Lion and Tidehunter. It's a lot simpler to execute on their side. Actually, we're going to have a little bit of a go here on the Tidehunter. He's going to get Ice Blasted first thing. CK is going to jump on him. Yep, Sonic Wave's going to guarantee his demise. The Lion now getting blinked on by the Slardar. With the Corrosive Haze, he's got nowhere to go. That's going to go down. And that's the advantage of Dire, is that they have just tons of solo pickoff potential. Like Queen of Pain, Chaos Knight, Slardar, all these heroes that love just jumping on targets and exploding them. And so any kind of like items or abilities that let Radiant survive that kind of burst will be really helpful. So this Kunkka is going to be kind of key, I feel, to keeping heroes alive against the burst from these Dire heroes. Slardar has gotten the blink and is now working towards BKB, seems like. Tiny working towards an S and Y. And the Kunkka, has he finished up Radiance? He has finished up Radiance. Not sure what he's going to go for next. Probably another tank item, I'd imagine. Maybe a BKB. Try and stay alive in fights and get his spell combos off. Medusa's now finished up the Ags and is looking towards Revenant's Brooch. That's quite interesting. Just going for like AoE magic damage. Probably to try and chipper this Tiny and Tide down.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
They're going to be able to take that top tier 1 for free. And that will be the last tier 1 in this game going down. Smoke play by Dire in the top lane, looking to come south and try and find a hero, maybe get a kill and then push the tier 2 off of that. Radiant might feel like something is up as they're congregating now. They may do some kind of counter smoke. Yeah, the Ringmaster has dropped the smoke into their inventory. Tiny is bottom, hitting Ancients. So there won't be a Tiny immediately for the fight. It looks like the Radiant team are inadvertently avoiding Dire here as they run into the Dire triangle. Both teams going into the triangles trying to find picks, but nobody's showing on the map. Just this Tiny right now. So Dire may be thinking to go down there, maybe thinking that there's heroes behind the Tiny and try and pick one of those up. But their smoke's going to break, and not sure if Radiant have some wards there. I believe I can do this, yeah. Yeah, I don't think either team is... Oh goodness, I gotta do this real quick. I apologize, spectator. F1. There we go. Alright, we have a fight here as Dire is going to run in and start the fight on the Tiny, looks like. Lion getting super low by the Slardar, starting to try to focus him down. Chaos Knight's going to explode instantly. Wheel of Wonder doesn't really find anything now, as it's a pretty split up fight. Kunkka trying to burst down this Queen of Pain, gonna do the combo off on her. Sonic Wave doesn't hit much. Tidehunter running down this egg, cornering him in this little water pit. A Slardar jumping in on the Tiny, trying to bring him low. And they're gonna try and focus down the, looks like the Ringmaster here. Tiny, low, hiding in the trees, manages to find the quad. Ringmaster dies on the side. Tiny goes down to the Medusa. Medusa chilling with very little mana here. Kunkka now low HP, hiding in the trees, trying to stay alive, gonna TP. Oh, if they catch just a glimpse of him, oh, they do, but there's no blink on the Slardar, unable to stun him. Medusa, I imagine, probably did the most damage there. Yeah, 5,000 damage on the side of Dire, just staying alive in fights, doing all that AoE damage. Kunkka doing a bunch as well. Ringmaster only 56 damage, you can see even with all these spells. Seems like he whiffed a lot there. Same with the CK, just not a lot of damage coming out from the sports. It's really the domain of the cores in that fight. As Deuce was just left alive for a little bit too long. Chaos Knight's going to do a very long range Reality Rift onto the line, followed up by the Slardar. Slithering Crush is going to bring him down, so nice little pick. With the creeps hitting tower, I imagine this would be a push, but no, the Queen of Pain is top showing, the AA is mid showing, so Dyer probably don't feel very comfortable pushing down that tier 2. Slaughter did get tossed by the Roshan there. And Roshan's probably going to be on the menu for this Dire team at some point with the Slardar and Medusa. You have pretty good Rosh kill. But so far, no one has taken in this game just yet. Gonna have a Shadow Blade on the Tiny, looking for any kind of pick off, trying to be a little bit more impactful as the Deuce is now online. Not going to find anything, just going for the camps. Kunkka, I believe, did show in lane, so they're now hunting this Kunkka. He's going to Tidebringer the Queen of Pain inadvertently. They're going to find him. A is just going to drop full combo on him. Sonic Wave, everything. Try and bring this Kunkka down. He's still alive, though. He might actually get this AA. That would be disastrous. He manages to get the AA at the very end there before dying. That's never a good feeling, but just heroes explode after that kill. Slardar coming in, finishing up that line. Queen of Pain going down to the line as well, probably from Finger. And now Chaos Knight trying to bring down this Ringmaster, but the Tide Hunter is going to do a 2-man Ravage onto Chaos Knight and Slardar, zoning these heroes away. Slardar's just going to leave his buddy to die here as Seal is left to the whims of this Tide Hunter. Danny comes in as well, just to secure that kill. So a bunch of supports dying in that fight. Kunkka and Quap as well. Not a huge gold swing, but yeah, I don't think that Kunkka should have been allowed to kill that AA. That AA should have just been running as soon as he did that combo. Probably felt like the Kunkka would have just died, but the Rum just keeping Kunkka alive for so long. Slaughter is under vision. Seems like Radiant are pinging it out to try and find him, but not going to make that rotation. Medusa now has finished up the Revenants, bro. She's getting pretty scary here. Going to be doing a lot of right-click damage in fights. Not a ton of mana regen, as you can see with these kind of items, just only 5. So very reliant on the Mystic Snakes and her allies, if they have any mana boots, which there's one of the AA, to be able to sustain her in terms of mana. Going for that Butterfly next. Not sure if I like the Butterfly versus this team. Not a ton of right-click damage, just mostly magic. Slardar is going to stun up a Ringmaster. Chaos Knight trying to follow. Actually, pretty nice pairing between these two heroes. Tons of physical damage. Shiny Meanwhile's got a Shadow Blade in, find the CK, combo him down. But Medusa's right there, going to start right-clicking this Tiny. On the side, Slardar running down the line with BKB, finds the Ringmaster as well. Slardar doing a good job bringing down the supports on the side of Radiant. And now this Tiny just has a Tide next to him to help him as he's close to dying. But Kunkka's here. Can he help? No. Just a little bit too slow as he throws out the torrent, only hitting the A there. Tide Hunter now is running away from the big scary fish. Yes, Slardar stuns, but it doesn't do anything because it's instantly purged. Could be a little bit out of position here. Kunkka's gonna X him up, do a little Q combo there, try to slow him, but now Kunkka's out of position as Medusa's just wailing on him with the Revenant's Brooch and Mjolnir, doing so much magic damage, just completely ignoring this 25 armor that's on Kunkka here. Even with the plate mill in the backpack, that armor was not doing that much. And a big old gold swing going the way of Dire. Huge XP swing as well. Looking at levels for a second. You can see that, yeah, Medusa and Slardar are top. And the big loser right now is Tide, only level 15 as one of the cores in the game. We finally have our first Roshan go at 28 minutes. With the Corrosive Haze and the Medusa and the negative armor from Reality Rift, that's going to be doing a ton of damage. Yeah, I didn't think about it, but that's actually a really nice lane combo. The Reality Rift doing pretty good armor reduction, even level 1, along with the Slardar doing tons of physical damage. Slardar's going to blink in high ground onto the Ringmaster. Try to get him a little low. Ty's just going to walk in at the very end of this. Quap's going to pick up the Aegis. Ravages 3 heroes, ton of AoE damage, gets that huge Wheel of Wonder. They bring down the Quap Aegis instantly. A running for his life as a Lion Stun keeps the Quap stunned for the time being. X as well. Looks like they really want to try and bring down this Quap. Tide's going to go down though. Tiny full HP brings down the Medusa. That's a huge kill. I think Dire needs to run at this point. As Queen of Pain now getting so low. Lion just controlling the crap out of her between him and the X's from Kunkka. 3 heroes dead on the side of Dire there. And it's not over yet as Tiny's gonna find a CK, do a combo. 3-second stun though, gonna keep the CK alive for a little bit. There is no follow-up. So CK will be able to run away. Pretty speedy hero between that drum strengths and base movement. Yeah, wow, that was a lot of damage from that Tiny. Tiny online at this point. Shadowblade Echo Saber's Shadowblade is going to be doing a lot to bring down this Medusa and these high AC dire heroes. Radiant, the formula for Radiant is pretty simple. Just do fights like that, where you're able to get all of Dire's heroes in a cluster, you're able to drop all your spells and hit multiple heroes with them. That fight was nice because they had the 3-man Ravage and the 3-man Wheel of Wonder. Just doing tons of damage, tons of CC for the Tiny and Kunkka to be able to do the right click and combo their damage off of that while Dire is disabled. Formula for Dire, on the other hand, it's mostly just try and pick off special priority heroes if they can find a Tiny versus Tim, if they can find a Kunkka versus Tim. Tide's a little bit harder until you get Silver Edge. I don't think anybody's gotten Silver Edge. Not just yet, so Tide's a little bit harder, but one of those 2 cores, pretty burstable between these 5 heroes. And above all, keep the Medusa alive. Throw your body at the enemy to try and get your hero to be the target of damage, even if it's a couple of seconds. The more, every second that Medusa is alive, that's just way more damage coming out on your team between the Split Shot, the Reverence Approach, the Mjolnir. Just Medusa is your key to victory on the side of Dire. Keep her alive. To get items to keep her alive, throw your body to the enemy to keep her alive. That's how you win the game. Gotta be a smoke up by Radiant as Dire are pretty split up. A couple of heroes in the triangle might get spotted here. There is a lane ward here in the middle. They're gonna find this AA, not the most ideal pick to get, but they are gonna find that no buyback on the AA. They could start going high ground right now. This would be a pretty bad situation for Dire without their AA trying to defend high ground. This is a pretty nasty choke point for heroes like Kunkka and Tiny to drop their spells in. And yeah, Radiant are going to start knocking on the door and doing big chunks to this tier 3 tower. Kunkka will do a little bit of a combo on CK, not committing much, but now the Slaughter blink in. Huge Ravage onto 4 heroes. Wheel of Wonder follow up. They burst this Quaff down. No buyback on her. CK soon to follow. He instantly buys back. Not looking good for Dire here as now Slaughter becomes the target for this Tiny. He got dead on the water though, so unable to run away. He pops the BKB though. Turns around. If his BKB runs out when he's close, he might die here. Yeah, he's going to blink away, realizing he's in a little bit of danger there. The CK off the buyback. Oh no, this is going to be real bad if he goes down. No buyback on him. A is back up. He's going to drop a huge 5-man sharded Ice Blast. Holy moly, that's a fight turner right there. Slaughter blinks and unable to find these heroes though. Any kind of pick whatsoever. Tiny and Tide run back in, trying to get this AA. Tiny can throw the tree. Doesn't throw the tree just yet. Chaos Knight did go down there. And yeah, now the Medusa. Oh, the Medusa gets tossed by the Tiny. That's a big fat fish that just landed on Medusa's face. Never a good feeling as she goes down. No buyback now. Slaughter all alone outside the base. They're going to start trying to bring him down. Yep, dead in the water. No BKB. That's going to bring him down. No buyback. Woof! That was a huge Ravage. Absolutely massive Ravage. Actually, we have a AA Lion killing each other. I did not see that. Apologies, but Lion did manage to get that AA. I'm pretty sure the AA is more annoying than having the asset of the Lion in that case, so it's probably a decent trade. But first set of racks mid are going to fall, and Radiant are going to transition top and start working on this top. Before it's going to be used, try and slow them down a little bit, but there's still quite a bit of time left on these dire cores before they can come back in. Tiny doing a lot of damage, brings down that tower, looks a little indecisive, walks up, gotta start right-clicking this range rack. Quap blinks forward aggressively, she's gonna get tossed back. Ooh, the Tame the Beast misses though because of the toss, and oh, nice Wheel of Wonder finds 2 heroes. Yeah, damages 2 heroes there. Quap's gonna go down along with the CK. Nice Ice Blast again. These Ice Blasts have been on point by Dravs as Dire keeps losing heroes, funneling them into the meat grind, trying to defend these racks. Tiny is so low, just like one spell combo could bring him down. But with the Medusa here, it's going to be pretty hard to defend this, I think. Dimitri running up, blinks forward, finds the Ringmaster, but immediately gets stunned up, has the BKB, holding on to it for the time being. Medusa's now going to run out Stone Gaze on the Tidehunter. He's just going to walk it off here, as Radiant are doing a good job of leaving. Ooh, Lion in the back. How did he get there? Gonna try and pick off the Dravs. Ravage comes in, finishes off the Dravs, and now this Medusa all alone. Slaughter getting bullied by the Kunkka out of position. This Tiny's just gonna right-click her down and bring down that Medusa. Lion now blinking forward, find the Slaughter, still has the BKB, gonna get X'd, choose to use it. They use the boat on this. So won't have that for the next fight. If there is a next fight, because there's only one set of racks remaining, Slaughter forced to go back to restore his HP and resources. And Radiant are going to back off that. Very happy with what they did there. If we look at the graph, you can just see straight line up on everything. XP gold and win probability. Like only 3 minutes ago, it was an even game. But now it's 15k after that chain feeding and all those buildings falling. I say chain feeding, but it's more of like a very prolonged team fight.
Bottom tower is under attack.
And I'm not feeling the impact from the CK. Like he does a single target stun and a little bit of armor reduction, but like compared to these heroes like Lion with that massive physical magic burst and the double stuns, or the Ringmaster who's just having these massive AoE Wheel of Wonders, like just support CK, it does not feel like it's doing a ton. He's going aura items, got the 8th lens to try and extend the reach of his spells. But he's the lowest CS right now and just not really feeling the impact from the support CK. Tiny and Kunkka have amassed a quite substantial lead. Tiny is now pretty slotted as they're gonna start the fight on the Medusa. She's all on the high ground. Ice Blast comes in onto the Tidehunter and Tiny. Medusa's gonna be able to get the Stone Gaze off, but she's very low resource. They're gonna keep her here for now with the chain. She's gonna be able to break it though with right clicks and walk it off. That's 3 big teamfight ults down on the side of Radiant. I don't know if they want to continue fighting here. Slaughter's gonna blink in, find the Ringmaster, but instantly get kind of CC. Nice Sonic Wave onto 3 heroes. Tiny getting so low, just needs a couple more right clicks before he goes down. He's gonna go down to the Queen of Plane. Lion now ults a BKB Slaughter, not doing that much damage. And now Dire are turning the tide. Medusa's going to be running down this Tidehunter, doing tons of magic damage to him with all those items she has. And they're going to find the Lion to finish off that fight. What a turnaround there by Dire. Staying in this game, having the mental fortitude to make a good team fight like that. Just Radiant just committed so many spells on the Medusa. The Wheel of Wonder, the Boat, the Ravage to try and bring her down, and just they were unable to. Without those big impactful team fight ults, Dire just recognized the opportunity and pounced on it, and was able to get a really nice team fight, get those Radiant heroes down. Not the hero you want to burst, I feel, on this Medusa, or at least you can burst her, but you need like full commitment from the entire team to be able to burst her down. Like they threw a bunch of spells, they weren't perfectly in sync with each other. And a Tiny, I didn't see him during that combo at all. They really need him to wail on her for a little bit to be able to get her down on HP. But if you're unable to burn that Medusa down, you waste that many resources trying to kill her, you gotta run. Dire's gonna pick up their first tier 2 of the game in the bottom lane. And that's probably going to be all they get, since Radiant heroes are respawning here. Yeah, a big factor in Dire's favor right now is the fact that Medusa is not really countered by anybody in this game. They really just have a ton of CC to hold her in position and then have the Tiny wail on her. But Tiny isn't the best hero to be wailing on the Medusa. She just pops Stone Gaze, or, you know, she's able to right click a couple of times, and this Tiny's just, like, his whole team is dying around him. Ideally, you get something with, like, Mana Burn, or Just something with a little bit more sustained damage. Tiny he does good burst damage, good chunk damage, but not that much sustained damage, not like a troll or a juggernaut and whatnot. Ice Blast is going to scout out this Roshan that Radiant are attempting to do. Dire not really in position to contest. Slardr's running down the river. It's going to go down. Aegis is going to get picked up on the Tiny. DD here going to get denied by the CK, and both teams kind of dispersing off that. No one really wanted to fight as the Aegis was just picked up before those two teams engaged. Dire are missing two sides of racks, but with this Medusa in the game, it's not that important missing these racks. It just means more CS on her. She's now sitting at 370 CS compared to like Tiny or Kunkka, who are about 50 below her. Slardr's going to be working towards, he has the Nullifier now and the Ag, so he's going to be working towards AC, looks like, trying to deal with a little bit of physical burst from Radiant's side, as well as get that attack speed to help him bash more. Kunkka, Shiva's Hex, going for the Aghanims. Aghanim's going to be a pretty nice team fight ability. Tide has that Refresher, and Tiny, looks like he's going Demon Edge. I'm not sure what that's getting built into him. Queen of Pain's just stuck with the level 1 Dagon, went Kaya-san, Shiva's Guard, and a fresh BKB for the next fight. Radiant have smoked up, gone through the gate, and they're going to be running down south looking for a pick. CK is running pretty aggressively here, not under vision, but nonetheless away from his team. As a couple of Dire heroes are going to show here in the mid lane with Radiant smoked behind. Looking for a pick. Kunkka might find a Slardar here. He's going to X him. Slardar's going to have to BKB if he wants to not get comboed here. Kunkka's just going to start running him down. Slardar just trying to buy as much time as possible. Ooh, an unlucky haste there. He's going to keep him, or lucky haste there is going to keep him alive. But they're just going to turn this around and find the CK, going to start comboing him down. No Dire heroes are coming up to help the CK. And he's going to go down. Medusa, too busy pushing top. Queen of Pain, too busy farming the top. And that's going to be a dead CK. Not the worst loss, because he is the lowest net worth in the game. Actually, bottom lane, I was not paying attention. I apologize. It looks like, yeah, Tiny just Shadowblade and found an AA and comboed him to death. So 2 heroes now dead on the side of Dire, both supports. They're probably going to have to buy back here to save this Rax. Radiant are going to... The right thing to do is try and like force those buybacks and probably just run away. All resources are up. You don't have both. That's a pretty important team fight ability. Tiny's going to try and force out this buyback. He's going to start comboing up this Medusa. A buys back. Nice Sonic Wave onto 2, getting the Ringmaster very low. Ravage onto, I think, 3 heroes there. He's going to refresh again, but doesn't have the mana for second Ravage. Meanwhile, Slardar's going to BKB, bring down this Lion. As we have a buyback from the Ringmaster. Probably, TP'd in on the outpost here. Tiny getting so low, just forced to run away. As Dire now full resources, just running at this Radiant team. Still no mana for the Ravage. He's probably begging his support. Mana boot me. Ringmaster, mana boot me. I need the mana for it. Aegis is going to go down on the Tiny. As Slardar now blinks in, finds the Ringmaster, who did buyback. He gets stunned up. This would be a big kill if they're able to get him. Oh, the Slardar's going to go down. That's massive. Buyback on the CK now. Tons of buybacks here. 3 so far. Slardar holding on to his as Dire do retreat. Unable to get that Ringmaster. That would have been a nice kill by Slardar. Getting that die back, but cost him his life to make that attempt. Yeah, Ringmaster did have the Arcane Boots in that fight, did not use them, so Ty did not have mana for second Ravage that whole time. That would have been a fight changes. Once again, we have the Medusa standing high ground and Tiny trying to combo him, her up. Tidehunter getting pretty low here. They're going to drop some stuns on him. With the Kraken Shell, he's able to just walk away for the time being. Medusa's going to get tossed back by Tiny. She's in the middle of it. Ice Blast coming in. Ravage as the Tidehunter dies. They're trying to bring this Medusa down. I don't know if they have the damage for this, though. Yeah, Tiny's just going to have to Shadowblade away as Plop in the backline, killing off that Ringmaster. He's now dieback. Medusa trying to bring down this Kunkka. I'm not sure which hero to follow. Seems like Tiny's going to get Ooh, brought down by the Queen of Pain. And Kunkka's gonna get brought down by the Medusa. And Lion as well going down there to the Slardar. Very split up fight there. All cores basically picking a target and bringing down that target. And once again, we're all even up in this game. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. But net worth is equal, as Dire have again lost a fight. Unusual to see the Refresher Orb on Tidehunter when he doesn't have the mana pool to sustain it. He's going AC, which doesn't help alleviate that problem. You probably want to get something like, heck, like an Octarine or a Shiva or something like that. I believe they already have a Shiva on the team. Yeah, one on the Kunkka. But you just need some kind of mana pool item to be able to get that double Ravage off and not have to rely on the coordination of your mastering fights. Because you're probably going to be blinking in anyway as the Tidehunter, and so you're probably going to be out of mana boots range for that. Anyway, Dire are going to be pushing high ground. They get that tier 2 very quickly. Start working on the high ground of Radiant. Still a bunch of dead heroes on Radiant's side. Just the Tidehunter up, soon to be reinforced by the Lion here. Medusa has shown up, and that's going to mean the tower's going to go down a bit quicker. There's no AA here. He is top, keeping this lane pushed out. But a giant Ice Blast could come in at any second. He has no Boots of Travel. Looks like they're going to drop some spells, a Wheel of Wonder and a Hex on the Slardar, who does have BKB. He's just baiting out. He's going to pop it to get out of there. Stone Gaze as well is going to let these Dire heroes run away. Ice Blast comes in, finds 4 heroes, huge Ice Blast on the side. Tiny was running out, like they may have wanted to get a fight there, but with that Ice Blast coming in, that kind of shattered any chances of that happening. We have a smoke up here by Radiant in this very back and forth game. Like already over 90 kills at just 47 minutes. You're going to be running into the opponent's triangle, getting vision up. And if I look at vision here, yeah, Dire, yeah, they saw the ward get placed and get D where they see the tiny mid, so they know exactly where Radiant are. And Radiant, meanwhile, not really seeing any heroes on the map, see 2 heroes now inside Dire's base. So both teams likely where each other are, so no surprises there. Dire just hanging out in their base, waiting for stuff to happen. Roshan timer is coming up now. That is a potential objective as we're starting to transition into the late or the ultra late game here. Radiant have just been having difficulties cracking this high ground, trying to burst down the Medusa. They really need like a good fight where they drop all of their abilities into, or Radiant drop all of their abilities into multiple of Dire's heroes to do lots of area damage and CC and be able to basically focus down a target without being picked. They're going to find a Kunkka here out of position, team really far behind them. Ravage to come out, but not before the Kunkka goes down. Starter's going to be able to BKB and walk off that damage as Wheel of Wonder doing a bit of zoning here. Queen of Pain on the side trying to burst down these supports, but now the CK is going to find this Ringmaster. They have the dust available for him. He's going to escape back for the time being, staying alive for a little bit longer. He's going to go down next though. Now the Lion is going to get reality ripped by the CK. And 3 heroes dead on the side of Radiant off of that Kunkka pick. Tide able to TP out of there. I really need to get a water. My throat is starting to go after a 49-minute game. Very action-packed game. Normally there'd be like downtime and lulls where I can talk about what each team should be doing, what items they should be building, but it's just pretty action-packed. Lots of backs and forth. Now the advantage is swinging towards the Dire. They're only at a 1 Rax disadvantage since they did get that that mid lane. And now it appears that Dire are coming back into this after it looked like it was GG for them in that top lane. Queen of Pain is going to find a tiny top, doing a bit of harassment damage. Actually, it seems like a tiny one at her. We have a buyback on the line as Dire start to work on this tower. Oh, that line just immediately explodes. That reality refrain is so long. It's followed up by the Slaughter. Tidehunter now gets caught as well. That's not looking good for Radiant here as Dire all of a sudden seem to have complete control of this game. Taking off these heroes left and right, just the coordination is starting to slip a little bit on the side of Radiant. Dire respecting the Tidehunter buyback. They are going to retreat. Tiny cutting the mid wave a little bit at least. He sees the DD and will pick that up. Slardar tried to find him with that W that does reveal in invis. So just a little bit off the mark there. That would have been a big pick if they found it. Queen of Pain TPing mid. And I imagine this is going to be a Roche push. With the Slaughter should be a very quick Roche. Tiny is showing top, so they won't be able to really contest this Roshan at all. Tiny's going to be shepherding in these creeps into Dire base. Someone's going to have to come here and deal with this at some point. Yeah, it looks like Queen of Pain and AA are coming back to get this. Queen of Pain did pick up the Aegis banner on the Chaos Knight and Refresher Shard on the Medusa. I do like that Refresher Shard on Medusa. I don't think it's too incredible on the Queen of Pain at this point. I think that putting on the Medusa, getting off that double Stone Gaze or double BKB is very important, as she is the most important team fighter on Dire's side right now in these team fights at this stage of the game. Tiny working towards MKB to try and counter the butterfly from Medusa. Late game MKB on Tiny feels awful every single time. You hate that item on this hero. But you have to do it if you don't want your damage to be cut down by a third because of that evasion. Dire now transitioning top. This is the last remaining racks on the side of Radiant. Tiny's bottom push, shoving in this bottom lane. Going to a Secret Shop to buy that Demon Edge. And Dire just chilling out, waiting for the creep wave. CK is going to drop the banner on the high ground. Lion tries to burst the creep wave. They torrented away from the banner, but that's not going to kill it off. As Medusa starts pushing the base. Dimitri going to jump in on the Ringmaster. Instantly explodes. A huge 4-man Ravage followed up by the boat is going to just do so much CC damage. Kunkka now getting burst, but he's so tanky with that roam. Look at how hard they are focusing. I'm not doing any damage whatsoever to this hero. He's finally going to go down as Slaughter and Queen of Pain go down, popping that Aegis. Slaughter does not fight back. A did go back to base for this fight to deal with creeps. But Tiny now pops the BKB, second Ravage onto 2. Queen of Pain, BKBs to dodge it. Medusa getting so low, no Aegis on her. She's just getting right-clicked by the Tiny. These two carries are death hitting each other. Tiny goes down, has buyback, uses it. The Kunkka now die-backed. It's going to be difficult here. Tiny, 4 resources. Medusa has none. The leash is going to come out on this Medusa. CK stunning up Tiny for the time being. Surely they can bring down this hero, right? Surely just all these hexes and disables coming out from the CK. They're finally able to bring her down. And Queen of Pain jumping away. Lion's going to finger her. Long range Earth Spike. Huge Earth Spike. Doesn't have the dead in the water though. This Queen of Pain is going to be able to run away. Yeah, 10 seconds on the dead in the water. Tide has no ability to catch her. It took 2 buybacks from the 2 most important cores on the side of Radiant, but they were able to hold that base. Look at that damage between the Medusa and the Queen of Pain. 21,000 damage in that fight. Holy moly. And unable to get the racks is a huge victory for Radiant, even if it did cost them some buybacks to get. Dire, very disciplined. I think they lost a racks down here during that. I think the creeps pushed in or something. Or maybe a Tiny hit it a couple of times. Not sure when that went down, but they were down to just 1 racks. As this game, there's only 3 racks remaining total. This could easily devolve into like a base race or rat race. With no buybacks, let's transition to buyback status actually. Yeah, no buybacks on the side of Radiant at all. Ringmaster has available, but he needs the gold for it. Meanwhile, Dire just to have all buybacks. So unless it's a really horrible fight, I don't see Radiant able to just win this game anytime soon. They need to get a huge team fight victory, get a pick off or two, and just transition into more chain kills. Dire just playing it chill. They're hiding in base, waiting for something to happen. We're gonna have 60-minute neutral items here pretty soon. Both teams could be working towards that. With these buybacks though on Kunkka and Tiny, I'd imagine that Dire really want to try and find these heroes and kill them. If they're able to get a dieback on either the Kunkka or the Tiny, that's probably going to be the end of the game there. Radiant are going to smoke up in their base. Not sure if this is a play or just to keep themselves hidden in case a fight was to break out. But Dire kind of just playing a little bit cautiously. Going into the enemy triangle. Probably gonna get some vision out. They have the gem on AA. Actually, Lion here went for the Wisdom Shrine, stuns up the Slardar. Slardar's not going to chase that. Nice little snag by the Lion. We're probably going to have 5 a fight here soon as Lion nukes the wave. No banner to support this wave. They're going to have to go high ground raw if they want to try and force this rocks here. Slardar's going to blink in, whiffs, finds nothing, immediately backs out of there. Nice A blast, finds 3. Ringmaster gets found, Sonic Wave to try and bring him down. He's going to go down, no buyback. Boat here trying to zone out the rest of this team, but Quap is able to get out of there. Dire just reset off of that. Ooh, Ringmaster just got the gold for his buyback. So he's back in the fight, and now Dire playing a little cautiously, looking for another pick. They're going to go on the line with a CK, but he's just got exploded here. Ravage now. CK has the buyback, could come in. They're going to go down the AA. Drab's getting low, dead in the water, goes down. Wheel of Wonder finds nothing. Peanut Pain going on the back line, kills the Ringmaster and Lion so quickly here as the Kunkka is just bullying these heroes. Meanwhile, on the top, Tiny focusing on the Medusa. I really want to see what's happening in both these fights. The Kunkka's going to go down, but as a trade, the Medusa left all alone with this Tiny is going to go down, but they're going to find this Tiny now. Dive-backed on Kunkka, dive-backed on Tiny, dive-backed on Ringmaster. 30 seconds until Tide can get his buyback. Just a Tide. Not looking good here, yeah. Dire smelling victory. They're going to buy back on the CK and the Medusa, and they're going to TP in to finish off this last interact. And I imagine this has to be the end here. Tide has 1 Ravage left. He can use it if he wants. They're going to go on him. He's just going to pop Ravage. Try and buy a little bit of time, but there's no reinforcements coming for another 40 seconds. They're going to use the fort. They're going to play this out until the very end here. But I imagine that there's nothing left for Radiant to do. Tide's just going to blink in, throw his body into the fray. GG is called, and that will be game 1. A very long game 1. Exciting back and forth. But at the end, Dire just got an advantage and ran away with it. Well executed by our pause 1 is Legend. And stick around for game 2 coming up next. Testing, testing.
It is Radiant's
Hello everybody, welcome back to FaZe Dota Circuit Season 8 Game 2 between our Pause Legend and Chappy Daycare. We had a long back and forth tense game between these two teams for Game 1.
seconds.
And both teams, showing pretty good skill parity there.
To ban.
So I'm excited for this game. That doesn't seem like it's... we could have a stop at Game 2, but
10 seconds.
just based on what I saw last game, seems like both teams are capable of winning here.
5 seconds.
I'm trying to pull up the match data for last game so I can remember what the bans were compared to this game. But it's taking a little bit to parse. Starting off picks, I recognize the Wraith King. Actually, no chat. Yeah, no one is complaining about me in chat. Starting off the bans, we have Wraith King, Monkey getting bans. Those are similar. Axe and Magnus also getting banned. Those are similar. Legion, I can't remember if that was first phase or second phase ban, but she was also banned. Nyax as well. So the bans stay the same for Chappy Daycare. Not deviating too much from that. They're going to open up with the AA. So AA is going to be featured once again in this series. Meanwhile, our Pause Legend is going to ban the Medusa themselves. They did pick it, and they did rely on it pretty heavily in the last game, but they may want to go with like a completely different draft, because if Chappy Daycare has not banned Medusa, they may try and draft heroes to try and counter the Medusa, because they're more familiar with her and expecting that to happen. But with the Medusa banned, we could probably get to see a whole new draft here from the side of our Pause Legend. They're going to open up Clockwork.
10 seconds.
So 2 new heroes to start out with. AA, just a solid high win rate in pub. Hero right now counters a lot of strong heroes, counters regen, good laning presence. And Clockwork is going to come out from our Pause Legend, and they are going to, or that's going to be a likely a support Clockwork, and another pretty solid, very versatile support, can save heroes, is a good initiator. A lot of supports just lack initiation without like a Blink Dagger, for example. But Clock does have that with hook shots, so you're able to combo a lot of spells with him. Not the funnest hero to play into an AA, because you kind of lock yourself into your own little homemade coffin with the cogs. And if the enemy picks up things like Jakiro or like Snapfire, with those kind of drop on the ground DPS, the Clockwork can very quickly cook in the cogs. We're going to have a Slaughter ban from Chappy Daycare, so respecting the play from Slaughter coming out. Also the Quap ban, so banning 2 heroes from last game, which were pretty annoying to deal with, and definitely had a big impact. Our Pause Legend doesn't ban any heroes that they saw in the first game, so I think these bans are pretty similar, other than the Medusa. I think it was a anti-mage ban game 1, but they banned the Medusa in its stead.
5 seconds.
And I have the match data now. Let me see what we had. Yeah, we had a Windrunner ban first phase by Chappy Daycare. Tiny's going to come out, so we're going to see Tiny once again in this game. And this time it's going to be on the side of our Pause Legend, so a little bit of role reversal with these heroes here.
10 remain.
Make sure it's good.
5
Yeah.
seconds.
So we had, let's see, we had like the Tidehunter, Ringmaster, CK as heroes picked in the first game. Those heroes are still available in the pool. Interesting to see if Chappy Daycare goes with that Tidehunter, who did not have the best game, but he was facing off against Medusa, which kind of harasses heroes with magic damage rather than right click. So Tidehunter didn't have as fantastic a lane as he would have versus, say, like a melee carry. If this is a Tiny 1, though, this is definitely more interesting to pick the Tidehunter, because I believe Tide has a pretty fun time versus Tiny. You just have to worry about getting tossed back into tower and taking tower shots for the most part. Clock is also pretty annoying to deal with. Actually, that's kind of an interesting combination you could do right there with the Clock and Tiny. You can toss heroes into the Clockwork, so he doesn't have to physically walk up. They go with the Mars, so we're going to see a new 3 this game for Chappy Daycare. Good laner, pretty reliable stun, and that arena is just a massive team fight ult. You can combo it with the AAA, can drop the his W, I forget what it's called, but the Magic Amp. Rubik as well coming out, so good team fight heroes on the side of Chappy Daycare. And Rubik by itself, I don't like at this particular junction because he doesn't have the greatest spells to steal from the Clockwork and the Tiny. Like Tiny, like Toss is pretty annoying if you can get on the Rubik, but there's no like impactful team fight abilities that you can steal right now. There's no heroes that Rubik counters, is what I'm trying to say. So our Plasma's Legend has the opportunity to not pick those heroes. They're going to go Silencer. Silencer counters Rubik to an extent, just able to keep the Grand Magus from running. And Silencer is a very good anti-combo, anti-teamfight hero. When you have heroes like AA and Mars, you want to combo them together to try and try and like burst down a hero or like lock down a hero, try to separate a team fight. But if the Mars arenas, you can just global with Silencer, and it prevents the team from following up on what the Mars has done. So the Mars just stands there in the arena by himself, right clicking. So Silencer is going to be a really good way to try and like blunt the edge of Mars's spear. So I do like the Silencer pick. In terms of these support duo, Silencer Clockwork, I feel like they lack a little bit of damage. Both good laning presence heroes. And it's not really the best combination with the Clockwork. As a Clockwork, you generally like to see something like a Jakiro, who can drop like Macropyre or stuff on in your cogs to try and like burst down the heroes you go on. But Silencer has that global, so if the Clockwork does go on a hero, you are able to follow it up with a global and help you try and secure that kill. Beastmaster, that is a Roar pick for the Rubik. So Beastmaster is going to have to be a little bit careful with using Roar. Going to have to follow that up with a summon or an axe or something, try and keep that away from the Rubik. Gyrocopter very quickly gets picked by Chappy Daycare, following that Beastmaster pick. Gyrocopter is a very tanky hero, likes to go Satanic, set to dispel for the global silence, and has ways to deal with the summons from Beastmaster with the flat cannon. If this is a core Gyrocopter, which it likely is, I think core AA here is going to be pretty hard to deal with versus a Tiny. The final bans in last game were Tinker, Centaur, Puck, and Gyro. So this could be a common hero on Chappy Daycare, and they pick it as the 18th pick. Yeah, 18th pick. So preventing that from getting banned by picking that 18. Rounds of bans are going to be Huskar on our Plasma's Legend and Storm on Chappy Daycare. So both teams likely feeling that they don't see the mids here. If I'm Dire, well, who's picking first? Yeah, Dire's picking first. If I'm Dire, I feel like I have a little bit of a damage issue. And you have good initiation with the Mars. You have pretty good lanes so far. I think you just want a mid laner that can either combo with the Mars or just win the lane. Kunkka was picked in the first game, had a pretty good early game. And Kunkka here definitely keeps your team pretty durable. You could also get a save, because right now your only save on the side of Chappy Daycare is like Rubik lifting with Shard, or Mars like spearing them away. So you could get a save for the Roar target. It's just a little bit difficult with the global, because if you Roar global, that hero is probably going to die whoever you go on. So I'm thinking instead probably something just like instant damage to go with the Mars to try and bring a hero down during his arena.
Dire's turn
Some kind of
to pick.
AoE damage.
Radiant's turn to pick.
It's gonna be a DK. DK used to be bursty when he got changed, when his E was broken, but that got fixed, so you don't really see red DKs anymore. It's mostly frost DKs these days. Not a ton of regen on the side of our pause one of legends, so I'd be curious to see if they actually go do frost. It's a very tanky frontliner, can basically soak up damage. It's a target that doesn't mind getting roared so much. Our pause one is legend, I feel, kind of lacks follow-up damage to the roar. Like, Clock doesn't do that much damage, Silencer doesn't do that much damage, Tiny can, but he needs items. So I feel like they desperately need something that does a lot of magic damage, or a lot of burst damage early game here. I can maybe see a Puck. That also gives them a late game hero, so they're not completely trashed by the driver late game. Yeah, something with burst on our pause one is legend. I think Leshrac and Storm would have been decent. That's why Chappy Daycare banned them. Those would have been really good heroes. I could see a Void potentially. Like Void or a Puck. Just something with any kind of burst damage. They're almost running out of time here. They're going to go with Viper. That's not a burst damage hero. I think that our pause one is legend is going to have difficulty killing heroes. I think their laning phase is going to be very strong, but once they get out of laning phase, it's going to be rough unless they like completely stomp the laning phase. But the Viper does provide a late break for the DK, so they're going to be able to reduce his durability somewhat with that. In terms of the skin game, ooh, that silencer set really speaks to me. That's a nice silencer set. Mars, you can't even see him because of his shield. Same with DK, actually. Got some shield boys on the side of Dire. I might have to go with Dire again. Kind of like the red theme, once again, that they're going with. Rubik's kind of the only thing that kind of separates the two. It's a little bit more bluish on the side of Radiant, but yeah, not a lot of cohesiveness in terms of cosmetics on the side of Radiant. I'm going to go to Dire. But we're going to just wait here a bit as we get into the game. Does my key binding work? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Give me 1 second.
In strength is victory.
There we go. All right. So, starting off the game, we're going to have Radiant smoking up and running into the enemy's main jungle. Dire, meanwhile, are going to be smoking and running south, past their own tier 1, looking to do something in the opponent's jungle as well. Viper being left behind. It's pretty slow here, only 275. I think it's the slowest hero in the game, actually, on that Viper. He's going to be chilling out mid. And kind of a quiet beginning here. It seems like there might be a fight as Dire are looking to maybe come up here. The Radiant do have vision of his high ground, so you get to see the DK. Hard hero to go on first, but Dire going to clump up into the 3-man cogs, ton of damage into the avalanche as well, but so tanky on these Dire heroes, it's going to be hard to see who's going to go on first. DK is starting to get very low, going to go down to the Clockwork, so he's going to pick up the first blood. Big Blood Grenade coming out to bring out that Gyrocopter as well. So 2 ints already for the Silencer to start this game out. Dire, I think that happened again in game 1. I forget what the circumstances were, but I think Dire, they ran high ground. Like, Radiant ran high ground into here as the same team. Chappy Daycare, they ran high ground into no vision and just got punished because of it. Granola trying to run to gate. He's just gonna TP. Unable to get there because of the gyro, but not going to be that impactful. To introduce the heroes once again, as we have a little bit of go on this gyrocopter getting cogged. We have Dimitri on the position 3 Beastmaster, supported by Seal on the Clockwork. Going to be facing off against Mathematician on the gyrocopter, supported by Epi on the AA. In the mid lane, we have Rice Boy on DK facing off against Viper Emu. And I think Viper's going to have a pretty fun time in this lane if he maxes up his Q or W. In the bottom lane, Silencer is bullying this Rubik who has to TP back to tower. It's going to be Drabs on the Silencer supporting the position 1 Granola Tiny as they now focus this Mars with the Rubik gone. Getting very low. One more right click should bring him down. Yeah, the Drabs is going to get that level 2 and instantly pick up the E. It's going to be Gazelle on the Mars being supported by Malibu on the Rubik. Top lane, Clockwork and Beastmaster can kill quite a few heroes together. Beastmaster doing a ton of poke damage with that Axes, and the Clockwork able to pin heroes down in the cogs. Gyro A though as well doing a ton of damage, so even if they go on one of those heroes, Gyro could be able to turn it around and do a ton of damage with the rockets. Rubik's going to go down here, kind of missed that. Gyro also getting pretty low. It's kind of a skirmishy lane up here top lane, as Dimitri has those Axes doing a ton of damage with them. Trying to watch all lanes. A lot of heroes are low right now, so it's hard to see where the action is. Mid is getting pretty close. DK trying to right click this Viper down. Needs one more right click. No kind of heal on the Viper, but unable to get it. Just a little bit too slow. Yeah, a lot of heroes are low right now, so I'm trying to focus a little bit on the camera rather than a specific lane here. But 4-for-0 start for our pause 1 is legend. Not what you want to see on Chappy Daycare after that loss. So top lane, both teams have ways to kill each other. I feel like Radiant is slightly advantaged. Just the Beastmaster and Clockwork are both really strong laners together. Or individually and together, I think it just compounds. Mid lane, I think Viper is going to have an easy time with DK, unless he maxes health regen and able to sustain against the Viper. Viper not opting for a bottle, so it's going to be a little hard for him to sustain damage. Bottom lane, a little bit of a go on the Mars. Level 3 Sounds, you're going to be blowing this guy. Already that +4 intelligence, giving him a ton of damage. Meanwhile, AA top, it's caught out of position by these two heroes. Gyro forced to hit the creeps under tower, not really able to assist. Just so many heroes low right now, it's hard to really focus. But Radiant looks like they're trying to maybe set something up on the gyrocopter, but not going to happen. A little bit of a quiet lull as the kills are now 5-for-0, advantaging Radiant. I'm thinking in terms of win conditions, ooh, nice cog there by the Clockwork, able to catch Gyrocopter on the very edge. Gonna be brought down by the Beastmaster. Yeah, this is looking a little disaster of an early game for Dire. They have good team fight, but the support duo, I feel, is just gonna have a hard time really working well together into the mid game. So even if they stabilize these lanes, I think they're going to have a hard time in these mid-game fights. Beastmaster and Viper are going to be pretty strong heroes to deal with. Viper getting pretty low to the DK though. DK kind of hanging around in this level 1 Nether Toxin, not doing a ton of damage. Viper's kind of just kiting him. DK needs to get a Q off, gets the Q off, going to die for it though. So kind of a suicide play there. Bottom lane, both heroes, both sides doing a ton of damage to each other. Clock trying to find a flank on the Gyrocopter. We'll be able to find him if he wants to cog. We'll cog him. But the Cliffy comes out, it's going to stun the Clockwork. Gyro could be able to turn around and do a ton of damage with the Rocket Barrage onto this Clockwork. But the Wild Axe is just keeping that Gyrocopter at bay. Yeah, Gyro just can't really come up with that 8 stacks of wild axes on him, giving that massive damage amp. So it has to just wait, kind of like Fury Swipes to just go back and wait it off. Clock getting pretty low. Has the Tranks though. He's going to walk right into an AA here. Has the Lotus, going to use it. Cogs reveals. There's no more right clicks coming out. Cold Feet does not connect, but the Gyro's going to find this low Beastmaster on the side while the clock is engaged. Clock's just going to go through the gate down here to Silencer, but now going back top, so that's minus 150 mana. Looks like they want to try and make a play on this top lane here. A is going to get the Lotus, but these Radiant supports are going to be able to coordinate and bring him down. Rotation by the Rubik to try and bring him down. Or to try and support this A, but A is gonna go down. Rubik now no mana, has the Lotus, has cooldowns on his abilities, so can't really help. Gyrocopter's just gonna man mode right click, but Beastmaster's now here off the respawn, just gonna bring down that Gyrocopter. Flare from the Clockwork, gotta bring down this Rubik as well. And just 3 heroes dying top between the supports and Beastmaster of Radiant. Farm doesn't look too despair for the time being. Every core is getting a reasonable amount of farm. I'd say Gyro's having the worst of it. You don't want to have this few CS as a Gyrocopter. You're very reliant on getting those items at specific timings to be able to transition your farm. Kind of compound it and get a ton of gold. Bottom lane, there's going to be a bit of a fight over the Wisdom Shrine as Mars went for it, but 3-man rotation between the Tiny Clock and Silencer is going to bring the Mars down, but DK is going to TP over and going to get that Silencer kill.
Radiant's middle tower has been denied.
Above the supports, Beastmaster is a little bit vulnerable up here. So going back a little bit, trying to respect the Gyro. I think this 6 timing on Mars is going to be very important. That's one of the primary ways they get kills on the side of Dire is with the arena. I think Gyro as well, getting that missile damage is pretty important for them to be able to kill heroes, so probably just playing a little bit defensively until they are able to get those abilities. Ice Blast as well is going to be really massive once they get that. So a mid tower is going to go down. I didn't mention this, but this is a poison DK, so they're looking to push a little bit easier with this DK facet. DK is just going to run under tower with the haste one. That's going to be doing a ton of damage to him. Gonna manage to do a ton of damage to the DK. The DK did get that kill. Meanwhile, top lane, another 3-man rotation between the Clock, the Beastmaster, and Sounds. You're going to find the Gyro under tower, and they're going to be able to find a follow-up kill in the AA. So Gyro, even with top CS, just not having a fun time. A 5-1-5 Silencer, 4-0-5 Clockwork. These supports have been just absolutely killing it on the side of our Cosmos Legend. Just smashing these lanes. Look at net worth for a second here. Doesn't seem like it's leading to that much of impact. Like, all this gold is going onto the supports. So if you look at like the supports are well above their Dire counterparts here. As we have a go on the Dragon Knight, Beastmaster finds him to drop the gold, but to try to secure him. ZK's gonna go down. Radiant are gonna look to try and pick off the Rubik afterward. Oh, you should right click the bounty runes there. No, the bounty's gonna go the way of Radiant now, or at least one of them is. As the Mars shows up with the arena, spears the Clockwork, doesn't connect on the tree. Mars is going to chase down this Clockwork, but Clock's going to have some abilities over here in a second. Gyro, meanwhile, on the side, farming as the Viper now shows up. Kind of a separated team fight here. Big 2-mana arena onto the supports, but Mars is left alone with these kind of high CS supports. A is going to go down on the side. Viper's getting chased by the Gyrocopter. Mars getting very low. Viper goes down. Mars is going to go down to the urn from the Clockwork. So dominating streak on that Silencer, 8-1-5 Silencer, 4-0-8 Clockwork, 3-1-9 Beastmaster. 4 heroes dying for just the Viper there. Yikes. Dragonite is going to pop ulti and chase down the Silencer, finally get that kill. That's going to be a nice 500 gold chunk of change there for the DK, able to get that. It seems like Clock's trying to bait him into the high ground, but DK's not falling for it. He's gonna back up. Look at the damage from those axes. No points in either of these summon abilities, just max damage in Inner Beast and Wild Axes. DK is probably not happy being in this lane because there are tier 1s available for him to go to instead. But he's going to be staying mid, farming it up. There's going to be another dive here top as Beastmaster is going to find the gyro, drop the roar. This should be a very dead gyro. He's going to pop the wands. He's going to live for a little bit while. Oh, he gets the kill on Dimitra. Was not expecting that. Just diving a little bit too far. Silencer just wasn't in range to be able to do that much damage. But we have a hookshot mid as they're going to find a low DK who's very low under tower. Looks like he dived the Viper to get that kill. So DK getting a Viper but dying for it, and Beastmaster getting a gyro but dying for it. So a bit of a trade in cores there.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Just very skirmishy, very similar to last game. But these supports on Radiant definitely have a gold advantage on their Dire counterparts. Mars especially, like look how little gold the Mars has. Only phase boots Bracer at almost 12 minutes now. Having a rough game. He just needs to sit in a lane and farm for a little bit. Work on that Vlad's, work on that Blink, and then come to a fight. There's going to be a smoke play by Dire. DK followed by his Ancient Apparition. And Rubik, both supports still level 5. Looking to get their level 6 off this fight. They're going to find a Silencer. This is going to be a big kill. That guy is worth a lot of money. He's going to go down. It's a very easy pick. Clock was unable to do anything there. And yeah, that's going to give a nice chunk of XP to both these support heroes. Just slowly working to those level 6s. Level 6s. Interesting skill build on the A, going 1-2-2. I guess the scaling isn't that bad. You double up the Death Frame stats, you double up the damage on Chilling Touch. But generally you see like max Cold Feet and max Ace Vortex, I feel. Game has slowed down a little bit as Gyro is passive farming in the safety of his side of the map. Radiant's going to be working on this top tier 1. And Dire looking for some kind of kill bottom. You have the supports down here, Rubik, AA, Mars. AA now has his Ice Blast. Rubik, I imagine, is not that far off. Yeah, just about 70 XP away from getting that level 6. Mars has Arena, would love to use it on something. If they run high ground here, they might find a pick. Ooh, this AA could get caught if he's not careful. Both supports standing high ground. They're going to find this AA. But right as they do, the clock is going to go in. Global Silence is going to keep either of these supports from doing anything. Avalanche is going to finish off the A. Rubik getting so low. Going to go down to the Urn from this Clockwork. 1800 HP on a Clockwork level 13. My goodness. That is a tanky support right there. So committing the global to picking off those two supports. You'd like to see a core get killed instead of the supports, but still, that's gold. It's a little bit more advantage. Wisdom Shrines come up. Gyro's gonna get his on his side of the map. And right now I'm gonna start poking the Zell here. Trying to see if they can provoke a response. Ooh, the toss got interrupted by the telekinesis as mid. We actually have DK finding a Viper with the Mage Slayer now, just able to ignore a lot of the damage from the Viper. Oh yeah, looks like AAS helped with that with the Ice Blast. Potentially with the Ice Blast.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Top tower is going to fall. There's just one remaining for Dire in the mid lane as Dire now smoked up, looking to find something here as they run bottom. Maybe try and get this Tiny, who is top net worth, has been happily free farming all game, hasn't died yet, only 1 kill. Mars' smoke is gonna pop, he's gonna drop the arena. Nice little combo onto the Tiny, drop the Ice Blast as well. Rubik's gonna steal a Tree Grab, not the spell you want to steal, so there's no follow-up stun. Tiny's gonna be able to run away there. They got a turn roar up the Mars, hookshot on the AA, just leaves him there, not reacting, just accepting his death. And that's 2 dead supports here, three heroes dead on the side of Dire. Nice turnaround, nice rotations by Radiant to turn that around. Bubble was off, it was just coming up, so it was a very good timing to get that Tiny. I think if Rubik was able to steal one of those Tiny spells, either the Avalanche or Toss, that likely would have been a dead Tiny. Just Tree got really messed up their chances of killing him. A is going to be spotted by the Flare, as DK does pop ult to try and defend this tier 1 tower. Yeah, Dire seem pretty committed to defending this tower. There's a DD bottom, Clock's going to scout it. They want to get it on the Viper, who also went Mage Slayer. We'll be able to get it on that Viper. DK now pushing up a little bit. If Clock wanted to, he could isolate one of these heroes. Yeah, he's going to find the Ancient Apparition, hookshot, combo, going to instantly explode. That's by far the more valuable support to kill, as Rubik just doesn't have a lot of spells to steal to contribute to these team fights. Like, the best he can do is really roar. But Ice Blast is definitely going to be more reliable, more dangerous at the moment. So killing that A basically just means that you can't defend this tower. And now they're looking for a Rubik, as Clockwork comes around for the flank. The Cog's pushing that Rubik away from safety. They're going to be able to bring him down next. So it's slight win probability lead for Radiant here. You still have 2 cores farming up on the side of Dire, DK and Gyro. The Gyro hasn't really contributed much to a team fight. He got pretty stomped on in lane, 3-5-0. But he's working towards that Agnums, he's working towards that farming build. His farm is going to start exploding here pretty shortly. It's going to be a hook shot here on the Gyro. They're going to isolate him. Gyro's going to drop the ult. I don't think the Clock has the damage to kill this Gyrocopter. Ooh, the Cog maybe earned a Spirit Vessel, even doing a ton of damage. Actually, the Silencer rotation with the last word is going to get the last word on that Gyrocopter, bring him down. Not before the Clock dies, though. It's wicked kill streak dying down as Arena now finds 2 heroes. Roar on, I think, the DK. But this is a disaster fight as Dire is suddenly winning the fight here, as Tiny now running in left all alone with his team dying. That's 4-0 Silencer forced to run away. That is going to be a huge gold swing going the way of Dire, especially with that Clockwork dying and that wicked kill streak. I'm interested to see what this after action fight looks like. Yeah, 1 for 4, almost 3,500 gold, over 3,000 XP. DK doing a ton of damage with the poison and the Mage Slayer there. Seem like Radiant don't want to give up this tower just yet. They're TPing in heroes. Clock's gonna run in at this Mars, has the hook shot, uses it on the Rubik, finds 2 heroes. Yeah, with the Viper Strike or Viper follow-up, the Nether Toxin gonna do just tons of damage inside that Cogs. And Dire are just gonna have to run away, so maybe staying a little bit long. I like the play by Radiant, like recognizing that they're still very strong. They just need to be all grouped up together at the start of the fight, and they get that, able to TP and defend that tower and get that nice 2-man pick off by the Clockwork. They're going to pick up Tormentor. It's going to go to the Viper, who's 2nd CS. That's quite interesting. That's a very good shard to get. That's going to give him a lot of tower push. Combined with like the Beastmaster's push and Tiny's push, that's going to let them deal a ton of damage to towers. Seems like they have an inkling of where Gyrocopter is. Gyro is going back. Ooh, the Axes are going to scout out though. Tossin has the roar, uses it, getting low. We have heroes TPing in. The Radiant are kind of in a compromising spot though. They're all just clustered here. in this little corridor. Mars is going to blink in 3-man Ice Blast, but there's no follow-up. DK actually coming in, finds the silencer in the back. That's a huge kill to get. It's just him and the Rubik, though, as he's going to start working on these heroes. Spirit Vessel is going to lower his HP. Viper under tower, gets Viper Striked himself. He's probably going to die to this tower. The DK finally goes down, not able to get anything other than the silencer. Oh no, Viper is going to get out of there. Only 60 hit points. Rubik unable to find them to do the last hit on that Fade Bolt. So, disaster fight for Radiant. Losing the Gyrocopter, Mars got like so low before the DK could get there and really help him during the arena. And these heroes are pretty tanky on Radiant. The Beastmaster, the Clockwork, the Tiny. Just you need the DK to kill all these heroes because he's the only one who really does the damage on the side of Dire right now. Gyro can do damage, but he has to be left alone to do damage with just these items. Smoke up by Dire as they're going to get the Shrine and deward their right-hand jungle. Radiant seem like they're okay with just passive farming, waiting for the war to come off cooldown. Beastmaster has finished up his Aghanims, so that's going to be doing a ton of fights. Bottom lane, we have a Viper Strike on the Clockwork from the Stolen Spell on Rubik. He's going to force stack ward? He got pushed up by Spear, yeah. And that's going to be a dead Clockwork. These supports are worth so much that these kills actually matter quite a bit. Like it's a 7, probably, yeah, almost 1,000 gold swing on just that one support. So, gotta play a little bit careful here when you're doing the supports. DK meanwhile is gonna ult blink in on the Viper. Viper is just gonna Viper Strike defensively and run away there to save his life. Not the worst commitment, it's only a 40-second cooldown this level. But yeah, Viper just not able to do much to assist DK. DK now could blink forward, find a pick. He's gonna blink high ground, get instantly stunned by the Beastmaster. Silencer needs to be a little bit cautious here. This DK does a ton of damage. There's a Rubik dying somewhere here as DK just getting poked down by the Viper and the Beastmaster combined. Yeah, they're just running circles around him, getting tons of drone damage. Meanwhile, Mars meanwhile gets focused by the Tiny. Gets brought down on the side, just not seeing the opportunity there to go in and save his DK. So a little what do you call it? Disjointed there on the side of Dire, not able to stay together and combo the spells effectively. DK just jumping high ground, getting instantly roared, all by himself. Stayed alive for quite a while, but the Mars was just not able to come in there and disrupt the fight and give the DK more time to right-click things. Tiny's gonna be right-clicking this tower solo mid. Unless someone comes here now, this is gonna be the first tier 2 to fall. Yeah. Tiny's just gonna take that, so the outpost is now available. Gyro still farming. Got that Ag now. The farm is going to begin accelerating for this hero. As Dire now 3-manning, looking to deward, take a little bit control back of the jungle. The Clock's gonna scout this AA. Gonna immediately drop the hook shot. Rubik got the battery assault. That's not a good spell to seal on the Rubik. Very nice on the Clockwork, preventing Rubik from getting that hook shot. And A is going to go down to that Spirit Vessel. Clockwork hitting them with the voice line as kind of stalls again for a little bit. DK has the Hurricane Pike after Blink Dagger, trying to just remain as mobile as possible in these fights. He recognizes that he's just getting kited to hell between like the slows and the Beastmaster just drumming him, the Viper Strike, and he just needs to be able to get on top of these heroes to right-click them. So going for that Hurricane Pike for extra mobility and an AC for just more durability, especially for the team. The team really needs the items here when they're this far behind, especially that Mars. Mars is below the net worth of the 2 supports on Radiant. Viper went for Hurricane Pike as well, so very similar build to the DK, just opting for the Blade Mill instead of the Blink Dagger. Tiny has gotten the Shadow Blade. This is a pretty farm Tiny, actually. Just left farming all game, only died once so far. And he's going to be pretty scary if he's able to find a hero. Yeah, he's going to go on this Gyrocopter here. Evasion on the first strike from the Gossamer Cake. Gyro's gonna turn around, but just doesn't do that much damage. Hookshot actually from the Clock Wrist has he rotated over Spear Vessel. I don't see Gyro getting out of this. Tiny is able to wail on him. Icebox did come in doing quite a bit of damage to these two heroes, but no follow-up. Although it seems like Dire want to fight this blink and buy the bars, but this is what I mentioned in the draft. Just with the Global Silence, you blink and you just die because there's no follow-up from your team. You have to run away. So good initiation by the Mars, which is completely countered. And AA left alone as well, trying to hide in the tree, is not able to escape there. And Radiant now, with these big pushing heroes, the Viper, the Tiny, the Beastmaster, can easily take this tier 2 should they desire to. That will be a pretty easy tier 2 tower. There's only one remaining left on the side of Dire, this tier 2 top. As Radiant run into the triangle. I imagine they're going to go Roshan next. No Torm available. Could as well run top, but Roshan is on the way. Pretty easy for them to take it. Beastmaster with the Aghanims can basically solo it. But to be fair, Dire does have abilities to contest Rosh. You can drop Call Down on it, a Blast, a Mars Arena. And that could be a pretty bad fight for Radiant if Dire does become aware of it. Gyro's going to be pushing top. It's going to be dangerous if he shows. Ooh, the Tiny's behind them with the Shadow Blade, invisible. It's going to be quite scary here. Gyro's going to run into a silencer, sees them, immediately recognizes he's in danger. He's going to run away, TP out. There's no stun. Ooh, nice Viper sidestep to allow the Clockwork to get the hook shot off and cancel that TP. That's going to be a dead Gyro. They could transition this into an pretty easy Rosh at this point, but it's either that or the tier 2. It looks like it's going to be the tier 2, or the Roshan. They start walking down towards the pit. DK working towards BKB as his next item. Something to deal with the Global Silence, because that's just 6 seconds where you're not really able to do much in a fight other than right click. Rubik going Blink, Aether Lens. I feel like this Aether Lens is a little bit greedy. I think you want some kind of purge to be able to deal with the Global Silence. Bottom lane we have potentially a fight here. Mars pushing up the wave, able to dodge these heroes though, goes to the gate. And that was Rosh taken by Tiny. He did pick up the Aegis. So this unkillable hero is just even more unkillable. Radiant have a lot of options. They can start fights between the Clockwork, the Tiny, and the Beastmaster with the blinks and the hook shots, and the Shadow Blades. They can also counter fights with the Silencer, with the hook shot, anything like that. So they definitely have options for how they want to play this game. They're going to start a fight on the DK. Actually, Clock, I think, blinks in. Yeah, blinks in to Cog, follows up with the hook shot, trying to bring this guy down. But DK's running with half HP. A on the side, trying to help. This gets bursted by the Tiny. Gyro now standing his ground, gonna get roared up, no regen. He's just gonna pop Arena. Follows up, but his boards are dead at this point as the DK now just so low, gets broken by the Viper. Clockwork does go down at the end of the day, but is a 4-for-1 double kill picked up by Granola there. And compounding this already massive gold advantage, now 21k at 29 minutes. Definitely more one-sided versus game 1 here. Radiant are going to be taking this last tier 2 uncontested as Dire are dead. Aegis was not popped, so no real objectives left on the map to take, so this will be the high ground push here. Dire has good high ground defense if they have the arena, which that's gone for another 40 seconds. But I think Tiny's gonna be able pretty free to damage this tower. They're poking him down quite a bit actually. Ooh, if this Ice Blast connects, that's a dead Tiny. You're gonna miss though. Nice dodge by Granola there. Clock mid, trying to find a pick. I'd be interested to see if Clock actually goes in with like a blink, tries to scout out. Maybe like hook shot out of there. Yeah, I'm curious to see if Raid actually like go in with this tiny low HP. Seems like they're going to be backing up at this time though. If you're on Dire, there's not a ton of rotation heroes. It's like nobody has Boot to Travel or anything. It's just the Tiny with the Shadow Blade you have to be worried about. I would probably be pushing lanes with like some of these supports. Like A could be in a lane pushing with Ice Vortex, trying to like get these outer towers, trying to provoke a response. Because then you could take a fight with a numerical advantage at that point. Just having to sit in your base, waiting for something to happen, never fun. They're gonna find a Tiny up here. Still has the Aegis. Not sure if this is the hero you want to go on though. Global Silence get a pop to kind of counter this initiation. Clock is just gonna find this Mars. He goes down, no buyback, now trying to focusing this. I think that DK was triple force staff there to get him to safety. He's actually gonna live. Dimitri BKB blinked in, but goes down, just unable to get that DK. But now Gyro just getting wailed on this Tiny, doing so much damage. Godlike streak on Granola, finds 2 more. They seem to be respecting the DK though. Although maybe they shouldn't, as they're still pretty strong, pretty full resources. Yet have the hook shot, finds 2 somehow. Nice Hurricane Tyke by the Tiga, gets him out, but he leaves this Rubik to die there. Just the DK alive now. Has 25k gold advantage for the side of Radiant. Tiny transitions mid lane. 40 seconds remaining on that Aegis. Radiant want to get the second lane of Rex. Clockwork blinks in. I love this blink pick. It just makes him so mobile, not relying on the hook shot. Gonna try and isolate that Mars, but Mars is gonna be able to run away there. And they're gonna take that melee Rex. Ice Blast coming in, gonna dodge. Gonna miss everybody. Dire finally have all the heroes up for a fight and all of their abilities, but it is it's after the cost of both sets of racks, mid and top. 28,000 gold lead now for Radiant. I think Dire are still on this game though. Like they still have the Gyrocopter outputting just massive damage with his right clicks. If he's able to survive in fights, I think he needs a BKB to just be able to right click for, you know, for the time that he needs. Going that Daedalus, just going max damage build. But you couple the Gyro with like the Arena and the Ice Blast, like preventing any kind of healing items from functioning, and the Arena just keeping heroes inside a small area for the Gyro to hit. I think Dire definitely have the ability to win fights here. Just it's a matter of having all the heroes together at the same time. But there's no DK, there's no Gyro while this Rubik gets gone. So the Rubik's gonna just go down. Global is popped, and honestly, Global's probably worth it for a Rubik out here. I think Dire are pretty happy with that. Because now the cores can come in and not have to worry about Global. But this Tiny Viper wailing on the tower. Mars is gonna blink in, isolate 3 heroes from the rest of Radiant. Tiny now got Ice Blasted. He has to run away with BKB. DK getting so low, even with BKB. Viper just right-clicking him down. 3 heroes dead on the side of Dire. Now 4 as the DK falls. AA falls as well. That's going to be Megas. That's going to be the game. GG's as Arpaz, one of the legend, wins the best of 2. 2-0. Little stompy in the second game. A close first game. And a pretty exciting, fun series to watch. Don't have many comments on that game. I feel like Arpaz was Legend just won their lanes. And, you know, the Clockwork, the Silencer were just very effective in those team fights. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This has been PDC Season 8 match between our Pause One is Legend versus Chappy Care. I've been Lunchless/Shredulith. Thank you for watching. See you all next time.